All right, here we go. Welcome into Hawk Talk on Melrose. I am Collin, joined today with Tyler. Well, we are officially done with week one as Iowa beats Albany 34-7. Not the prettiest game by any stretch of the imagination, and we are here to talk about that. There was obviously some positives, but then there were also some concerns. The big question is, should we hit the panic button? I'm going to say not yet, but definitely something that we got to address. But we are here a day later. We obviously went to the game, Tyler and I did, and I think the instant reaction walking back to the tailgate was very, very negative. Day later, you kind of decompress a little bit and you kind of look and you rewatch the game, and that's what I did. I know you did that too, Tyler. So I guess let's just start with that. Like, what were your thoughts? Now, a day later, we're recording this about 24 hours after the game.
Yeah, leaving the game, I was pretty upset, pretty angry that we never developed, I feel like, the passing game from what we heard all offseason, what we were, expecting to see against a team like Albany. Obviously, you look at the end of this, the stat line, he's 8 of 15, 44 yards and with a touchdown. And you look at that and you go, holy cow, that's very bad. Now, a day later, like you said, you sit back, you really look at the game. I rewatched it. I had it recorded, so I kind of rewatched it, and definitely a lot more positives than negatives, I think, in terms of just the entirety of this team. But I'm not ready to hit the panic button, like you said, because it is one game. And you listen to the post-game presser with Kirk and Mark talking about his performance. Listen, he owned it, right? And that's what, honestly, I was really impressed with. I know some of the Iowa reporters and stuff like this commented on it too, but really impressed with just, he owned it. He's not going to beat around the bush. He said he didn't play well. He was nervous, which after hearing that, I was a little surprised just because, this is his 50th game. His 50th game that he's won in college. So,
yeah, I think it would have been his 56th game in college, because I think he was 49-6, I believe, going into the game.
Right. So I was a little surprised to hear that. He even admitted, right? Like, he's not used to 70,000 fans, right? And so I appreciate his honesty in that moment. He owned it. He's like, listen, I didn't play good. He gave the credit to his teammates for kind of, doing the bulk of the work and getting this win. And obviously, he has a lot to work on. He knows that. But I was really impressed with that. But I will say this. I am concerned about the passing game yet, because I expected a lot better, more consistency in the passing game versus a team like Albany. And we just never saw that. So, not ready to hit the panic button because it is one game, but I am concerned, and mainly because of that team who we play next week, who looks like they're clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, let's address the elephant in the room. I'm glad you brought that up first. We'll get into some of the positives a little bit later, but yeah, let's talk about this passing game. Now, in the moment when we're in the stadium, I'm watching, because we're way up high, and sometimes on TV you can't really see. I thought, for the most part, not every play, but I thought receivers were getting open. Like Sam Phillips, there were a couple plays where he was open. Yep. Especially that, what should have been a touchdown. He was wide open. So I don't really think, but there were a couple plays, I will admit, but that's football. There's going to be plays where, there's nobody open.
The defense wins, right?
Yeah. But I just think that there were a couple moments where, and maybe it was the nerves, the kind of the adrenaline, especially that first drive, where I just thought Mark just kind of over complicated things. And what's crazy to me is, yes, it's like, Mark, this is we were just saying, 56 game. It's not like he forgot how to play football, right? Like, he threw for over 10,000 yards for a reason. Yes, I get it's FCS level, but the dude can throw the football. And so he just needs to relax. He needs to just get back to, you got here for a reason. You were playing in the Big Ten. You are a starting quarterback for a reason. There's a chance that you might make the NFL for a reason because of what you did at South Dakota State. You didn't just lose all that. He just needs to get his confidence back. And I think if he can do that, I think he can be fine. So, I just want to start there, right? Like that first drive, I really liked the play calling on that first drive. We didn't execute. Once again, Sam Phillips wide open. I don't know what happened. Did the ball get tipped? Did it slip out of his hand wrong? I don't know what happened, He underthrew him.
Well, it kind of looked like when he was rolling out there and then he threw that, it did almost look like it slipped because like it didn't look like a great spiral and it was very short. So it's a good question. I don't know. Yeah.
But I feel like that play completely changes things, because just imagine if he throws a perfect pass to Sam, we score a touchdown, the crowd's going crazy. I just feel like the confidence just goes way high. So I thought the offensive line, there was a moment where I was like, man, our pass protection is not good. After rewatching the game, I don't think the pass protection I thought it was actually pretty good. I just think Mark got like happy feet. He had time, and it just felt like he was escaping the pocket too early. It was actually on that third down, right after he incomplete pass to Sam Phillips on that third down. I mean, I just felt like he rushed that and he completely overthrows, and it could have been an interception if there was a defender there, where he just kind of lobbed it to TJ Washington. So it's just like little things like that. Now, I want to say there's two positives with the offense, okay, from last night. And then we'll get into obviously rushing, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. I'm talking more just kind of like Mark, and then maybe just kind of the play calling itself. It did seem, though, like Mark, I mean, he completed his 6 out of his last 7 completions before he got like hurt, cramps. And so he started, you could tell he was starting to kind of get that confidence in the second half. It started right before half where he threw that ball to Caden Weegan, which I thought was kind of a risky call, because once again, your quarterback's not playing very well. It's 4th down and 1 at the goal line. This is a big play. You do not want to go to halftime where people are just kind of like, we can't even convert a 4th down and 1 against Albany. And so we do a pass play. Rewatching that pass, if he throws that like just slightly behind, he probably doesn't catch that. And so that was a perfect ball to him. And then so that was right before half. And then we get into halftime, into the third quarter. And then that drive right out of the third quarter, I think they get a 3-and-out or something. We get the ball back. Beautifully executed drive. He throws a nice ball to Gill. Once again, 6 out of his last 7 completions before he kind of went down with cramps. So you could tell he was starting to get that confidence. And it's just like unfortunate. Like, of course, those cramps had to start happening. And then we didn't see him the rest of the game. And so we didn't really get a chance to see maybe that calmness from him. Maybe he did go into halftime and he came out in the second half and he was a little bit more calm. And of course, though, nope, he has to start cramping. So we didn't even see him the last quarter and a half and, play the what if game. What if he was fine the rest of the game? Could we have maybe seen a little bit more out of him? I don't know. It just sucks. And once again, it sounds like, people are probably thinking that like saying excuses. I'm not trying to draw any excuses, because at the end of the day, that is piss poor. 44 yards against an Albany team. I mean, that has to be better. I mean, there is no excuse for that. Yep. You should have 44 yards after the first or second drive of the game against this Albany team. And then I know I'm kind of rambling here, but here's a second thing I want to say too. And this is more just offensively, because I think I did see some people talking, it was mainly on Twitter, about just, the play calling, Tim Lester. Outside of those 2 drives after the first drive where we went 3-and-out, and it never felt like we were stagnant, and it never felt like on 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4 or 4th and 1, 4th and 2, where like before this year, I was like, yeah, we're not getting this. I felt confident every time. And it mainly is because I think Mark can actually run the football, and it just adds that element of that power quarterback run. But moving forward, like if you can get the pass game kind of figured out a little bit, that opportunity on those 3rd down and 2, 3rd down and 4s, I just think, we're going to feel a lot more confidence. And we did finish 10 for 16 on 3rd down. We finished 2 for 2 on 4th down, and we were 5 for 5 in the red zone. So those are all positives. And then obviously the rushing as well. It's just, this passing game needs to get figured out in a hurry. But and we hope against Iowa State we can. And one other thing too, I want to bring up, and I know this kind of sounds like because I hate when people say this, but I think this is the case. I think after Albany put up that touchdown and Mark was kind of struggling, I think it got to the point where it's like, okay, we're closing this down and we're just going to run the football. And so the rest of the game, we were probably as vanilla as you can get. I mean, we didn't show anything. We didn't do anything. I think there was one moment, maybe you said it to me, where it's like we ran like
was like 12 straight times.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, it was working, but it sucks though at the same time, because you won a game like that before you go into Ames, where you can feel somewhat good about your passing game. And now we just got to pray that come Saturday, it's completely changed, right?
Yep. So real quick, what I was going to say is Mark did not make the makeables in that game. There was a lot of easy stuff that he missed on, and that is rightfully, you can be critical of that because he's a veteran guy. You got to hit that stuff. That's number one. Number two, you took the words right out of my mouth. What I was going to say is when Albany went up 7-3 in the second quarter, Kirk's like, all right, we're just going to run the ball and win the game. The passing game just isn't working at this point. Mark had not been great at that point. I think he started out 2 of 8, and that was deep into the second quarter. But also the cramping didn't help either, right? That doesn't, obviously do him any good. And I feel like that combination of those things, they're just like, okay, let's just run the ball down their throat and get a win.
Yeah.
And so it never really built any confidence, and it's, we never really developed a rhythm in the passing game. I thought Mark made some good throws, like you had mentioned, to Gill and to Weegan. I said this to you in the game, and I think it's because of our vantage point where we were sitting, but I was like, man, we didn't run much play action. After watching that game, we actually ran play action quite a bit. I think it was just like these quick play actions that I didn't see in real time, but we actually did run play action. And like the first drive, we had 2 play action passes that converted into completions for him. So, I thought during the game, I didn't love the game plan from Tim Lesher, but after rewatching, like you said, I don't think he called a bad game either. So
I will say,
this is just my thoughts.
I hated the amount of hits Gronowski took, because you don't really want that against Albany, right? Now, if you got to do that against Penn State to beat Penn State at home, like you got to run, a bunch of plays for him, then okay. But like against Albany, like I really don't want to see hit after hit after hit,
which could have contributed to some of the cramping. I know they said it's because he was wound up and excited, but also these guys haven't gotten hit in practice in forever, so I'm sure that didn't do him any favors there either.
Also for the passing game, and maybe we can do this against Iowa State, but okay, if down the field isn't working, if Mark's not able, or I shouldn't say not able, but let's just say he's just not getting it down or whatever, start doing some quick passing plays. Like get the ball
screens
to Sam Phillips. Like you saw in that punt return what Sam Phillips can do in open space. Like 100%. Do some quick little speed outs, or like you said, wide receiver screens, or whatever. Jet motion. I mean, we didn't do one jet motion yesterday, which, going back to just we were as vanilla can be. But we didn't see one reverse to Weegan or Sam Phillips or any of that. Go back to the bowl game on that first drive. That was one of my favorite drives in Lester's, young career here at Iowa. It was that touchdown where it was just a quick toss play. It was like a motion to TJ Washington, and he just kind of tossed it to him, and he got 8 yards. Like just things like that. Like we didn't do any of that yesterday, and so I'm hoping the Iowa State game we add a few of those wrinkles in, maybe even early in the game, to hopefully maybe gain that confidence for Mark, because that's going to be the key in the Iowa State game. Is early on we have to get him settled down by doing some easy plays to kind of get him into the game. And so that's what I'm hoping that we maybe see that we didn't see obviously yesterday.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I think, and there was a reason we were vanilla, right? 100%. We've seen Tim do those types of things that you were wishing we did in that game. Because we didn't see it, it tells me we're not going to show that to Iowa State. But I'll just say, this is not breaking news here. If Mark throws for 44 yards in this game against Iowa State, we're losing by double digits for sure. So.
Yep. It's just crazy. 53 rushes and then only 16 passing plays yesterday. Just kind of tells you the story of that game.
Yeah.
It really, And then when you factor in, we had one drive over 6 minutes long, another drive over 6 minutes. It felt like there was especially in the third quarter, I was like, holy shit, third quarter is almost already done. We've only had the ball one time this quarter. And it's because we we had a drive that just seemed like it just took so much time off the clock. So let's talk rushing a little bit, because I do think that is obviously a positive. And I get it. It's against Albany, so you should do that. But I mean, it's still pretty impressive to be able to go out there, offensive line, first game, and to be able to just dominate 5.8 rushes per carry. Every running back just looked good, even despite Kamari Moulton getting hurt in the first, was that the first drive that he got hurt? I think it was. I think it was like one of the first plays he got hurt. But it sounds like it might not be as serious as maybe what I thought, because I saw him in a sling. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So hopefully he's back in no time. But man, the depth in that room, and we talked about it going into the season, when you factor in TJ Washington, a guy like Jazz, who didn't even play until the fourth quarter, Xavier Williams, who I think is going to quickly become the fan favorite for Iowa. I mean, the guy, not only is he physical, but he has a little bit of burst for kind of how big he is. He has like tree trunks for legs. I mean, the dude, we've heard like in the offseason, he's tough to take down. And you can see that his calves are massive. And so, 11 attempts, 122 yards, a factor in even Gronowski having 39 yards just adds that little wrinkle that you have to prepare for, which I love. And then Nathan McNeil came in at the end, had 3 attempts for 14 yards. So rushing, very good, over 300 yards rushing. I really just think this new running attack with the new blocking scheme is just so much better than what it was. I mean, you go back 2 years ago against Utah State, and I get it, Utah State's better than Albany, but we didn't even we averaged like 2.8 yards per rush that day. I mean, we literally couldn't run the football. And so to be able to go in yesterday, I know it's Albany, but just, hey, we just dominate their defense line and their front seven. It's good news, and hopefully we can take that into Iowa State, because once again, we're obviously not feeling confident right now with the passing game. Well, what's one thing that hopefully we can do somewhat good? And that's obviously running the football.
Yeah, I think, and we've said it on here, like the passing game is going to be still a work in progress. We knew that. Didn't think it was going to be as bad as what it was. But one thing we thought we could count on was still this run game. And so to see it in dominant fashion yesterday, 100%, that still gives me confidence that we can, move the ball down the field, and then obviously build off that run game with play action and stuff like that going forward, for sure.
And then one last thing about just the offense, that we'll go the defense for a little bit here, is what kind of bothered me yesterday too is we just didn't, not one time, just throw the ball down the field.
So I was the same way, and I kept hearing after the game that Albany was actually playing their guys pretty off coverage and stuff like that, which kind of prevented the deep ball. But then it goes back to our point before of, if they're playing soft, or and they're not giving up the deep ball, then why are we not doing quick screens and stuff like that to get our receivers the ball in space and get going? So that's what confused me about the whole thing. But continue.
No, I was just gonna say, to go back to the kids' day, and I know Mark didn't have a great game, but he had a couple good throws down the field. I mean, one to Seth Anderson.
Yep.
I think maybe one to Reese, and
that was Hank, but.
Yeah, I think it was, one was to Reese and one was to Anderson. But regardless, had a couple throws down the field, and that's what I was hoping that we would get a little bit yesterday. And that's why, I just figured going into that game that Mark would get over 200 yards passing, because I just figured we would have a few plays where we would connect on like a 30 to 40 yard play here and there, and before too long, you're up to 200 yards. And I mean, if he finishes with 200 yards week one, with maybe, 2 or 3 touchdowns. And obviously we're feeling really good going into week 2, but unfortunately, 8 for 15 for 44 yards is just not gonna get it done.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one thing to look at the 8 for 15 and say it was inefficient, but to see that it was only 44 yards just means he just dinked and dunked kind of that game, and there was nothing vertical down the field. And does that attribute to like a Reese Vanderzee being out? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's
one thing I was going to say, and this is a little off topic, but and again, this is going to sound like I'm making excuses. How unfortunate it is that, go Tuesday, Kirk's presser, he's talking about how healthy we are, and a few days later, Reese Vanderzee breaks his foot going in a lunch line or something, I heard. And then pregame, Bryce George goes down with an injury. First drive, Kamari Moulton gets injured. Like,
it's just so dumb.
Honestly, that was just bad vibes from the get-go, and it kind of was a microcosm of what the game felt like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly. There was a lot of just weird things that were happening last night that was just kind of like,
yeah,
kind of put the entire game like, yep, this wrap this up,
just made
cherry
sense,
on top.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, let's switch the defense here a little bit, and then we'll end it. I thought defensively, outside of that one drive where, man, Albany looked really good on that drive. I think their quarterback was like 6 for 6 or something like that. It was 9 plays, 68 yards, touchdown. Outside of that, though, they really couldn't do anything. And I thought the defensive line right away didn't look very good, but as the game went on, they definitely looked better. I thought Kenneth Merriweather, the backup DN, looked fantastic. I mean, we're going to need that next week against Iowa State. I mean, you're not going to be able to beat, especially after what we just saw Rocco do, 19 for 20. I mean, if Rocco is comfortable, it's going to be a long freaking day. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And so your defensive line is going to have to come up clutch, and hopefully we can create pressure with just 4. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that is the goal, that is the hope. Yesterday we had to start kind of blitzing to create that pressure, but it did seem like I said, towards the end there, our defense line was able to start generating pressure, just the front 4, which is good to see. I thought the back end, outside of that, obviously that drive, looked pretty good. I thought Jaden Harrell did not look very good after rewatching the game, got sucked in a few times. That is a position where, man, I think he might be on a short leash. I think Preston Reese, and you saw him on that special teams play.
Yep.
Actually, I think 2 special teams plays. He had some really good moments. I think,
it's close.
And when we talked about I shouldn't say we talked about it. We've been hearing how those young guys, they are very close. And so I think Jaden Harrell, in my opinion, I think he will get better, but that was maybe my biggest concern. And because of how important the middle linebacker is for Iowa, you need to be pretty good there. I thought Carson Shire had a great game, but Harrell definitely needs to get better.
Yeah, and on that drive, it was a combination of not generating pressure, and it seemed like he had kind of all day and for his receivers to get open, and then honestly, when he took off and ran the ball, it's like we didn't really know he could do that, or we didn't know that it was coming, but it just, I think it, and like Kirk talked about it after the game, he's like, I thought we knew he could run, but apparently our defense didn't. So little concerning, obviously, again, when you see Rocco do what he did against South Dakota. It definitely makes me nervous for this defense, but trust Phil. And like you said, as the game went on, it looked a lot better. I thought overall the tackling was really good. I thought, they took actually a couple deep shots, which we were not fooled by. Safety was over the top, as well as the corner was right there both times. So we never got burned, like we did early last year. So some positives, but yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is we're going to have to find a way to generate a little bit of pressure with 4 guys. Because if we start having to blitz all day against Rocco, this is where it's man-to-man and he can beat you.
Just looking at the stats, I mean, they finished with 177 total yards. They only had 43 yards rushing, average 2 yards per attempt. That's really good.
And all of it, a lot of that was on that one drive. So
their net passing 134 yards, but you can contribute half of that to that one drive alone. So that was really good. They went 2 for 11 on third down, which is good to see. Get off the field. Would like to see a turnover, especially against an Albany team, against a team that is coming into Kinnick, probably a little rattled, and it kind of sucked that we didn't see a turnover, whether it was a fumble or interception, because that's another thing, key to the game. I know it's obvious, but you got to get at least a turnover or 2 against Rocco. You got to force an interception. You got to force a fumble, create that momentum for us, because yesterday, our defense, like I said, I thought they did great, or they did fine, but I would like to have seen some sort of turnover. Now, the problem was their passing, they were just quick little dump, they were just getting the ball out quickly. So it's really hard to get an interception when you just do that. But I don't know. I just think we really need to make sure that happens next week. Is we got to create a turnover or two.
Yeah, I think stopping Iowa State's run game early and then being opportunistic when you expect Rocco to have to throw the ball. But he's a dual threat guy too. Like he utilizes his legs, when he needs to as well. And we've seen that during the K-State game for sure. And then you saw what he could do with his arm in the South Dakota game. So he's definitely an advantage in terms of the quarterback battle. They've got an advantage right now. But hey, listen, Iowa plays better at Jack Trice anyway. And I feel
exactly.
Like this is a really good, and I'm glad Kirk brought this up after the game. If you take any positive away from what we saw, and I know we're just talking about the defense, but real quick, it's like it's good that Mark experienced this because I don't know if he's experienced this type of performance in a long time being at South Dakota State. And so, hey, get through this first game, flush it, learn from your mistakes, and just, again, just try to be better. And I think he will be better for it in the long run.
Yep, exactly. Before we get into that Iowa State game a little bit, I do want to bring up special teams because, once again, great performance all the way around. Start with, obviously, Drew Stevens hit a 28-yarder and then hit a 55-yarder with ease. Probably could have nailed it from 65. And then Dakin averaged 50 yards per punt. Great to see. And then, obviously, Caden Weegan had a nice return. Sam Phillips had a nice return. So, special teams, man, like that has not fallen off, and which we kind of figured it was going to take it that next step because we just figured Dakin was going to be better, right? And so that was good to see. And, special teams, that's going to be big in this Iowa State game. And you saw the Iowa State kicker yesterday kicked a 63-yarder. So I guess I think maybe Hassel said on Instant Iowa, I guess if you're at the midfield, you can just kick a field goal and you'll probably make it if the weather's good. So
yeah, you're already in scoring range, I guess, from midfield. Yep.
But yeah, let's get just real quickly this Iowa State game because it is now here. It's a game that I wanted to be over and done with. Unless I knew that we were going to win, then it's like but it's just like, man, and now after seeing what Iowa State has done, against Kansas State, kind of sloppy, but came in week one, where I think a lot of people thought like this is going to be a close game. South Dakota might even beat them, right? They're coming off a game in Dublin. They might be tired. 55-7 or whatever the final score was. Like, geez. Rocco Beck, 19 for 20. And then you see Iowa.
Sets a school record.
Yeah, exactly.
Percentage,
and then you see what Iowa did, obviously running the football great, but I mean, it's tough to sit here as an Iowa fan and feel confident. And I saw the line is still 2.5, which tells you that, I think, maybe let's not get too, let's what's the word? Let's not overreact too much. I think maybe Iowa State fans are maybe feeling very, very confident. We're not feeling very, very confident. And sometimes, in rivalry games, when that happens, it's like completely the reverse. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping anyway, right? Like us Iowa fans, we do not feel good right now. We don't feel good about the passing. We just don't feel good about really anything besides a few things. And then you see what Iowa State did. And maybe there is that chance we come out Saturday and we just look like a completely different team. That's what I'm banking on. That's what I'm hoping for. But I guess we'll have to wait and see until Saturday at 11 a.m.
There's been some times in the past where we haven't looked very good in that first game, and then we play Iowa State and we won the game. I saw a tweet yesterday and I thought it was perfect. And it was like, if Iowa comes out and somehow beats Iowa State, this Albany game, it's like it's all forgotten.
Doesn't matter. Right? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So
even if Mark's stats aren't even that good, let's just say they're better, but we get the win. Yeah, everybody forgets what just happened. Because then at that point, it's like, okay, there's still work to be done. We got UMass next week. Let's,
Yep, you continue to build.
You continue to build that. And I'm just hoping because, I really like Mark. And I already hate seeing the negative comments about him and the Iowa fans already lashing out to him. And hey, that was one of Colby's predictions is like he was afraid that it wasn't going to look pretty right away. And you're going to have a bunch of Iowa fans just harping on him and bringing the second stringer. And I just, like I said, I really, really like Mark. I mean, I think he just seems like a humble guy. I mean, he's once again, his performance at South Dakota State, he didn't go 49-6 he went 49-6 for a reason. He threw for 10,000 yards for a reason. I mean, he's a good quarterback. And so I really just hope he can figure it out and we can get back to being confident about, where we are, because it does. It sucks after, week one and, just kind of what we saw. It's really hard to feel good about things.
Yep.
And so hopefully that changes here in 6 days.
Yeah. So for me, Collin, for this game, to kind of put a bow on it, it's like Iowa State fans have the right to feel good right now based on their performance against Kansas State in Ireland, and then coming back home in dominating fashion, beating a good South Dakota team. And obviously the way we played against Albany, they definitely have an advantage right now. And I feel like, listen, I can't defend that based on, like I said, what we saw, but I say this every year about this game, and throw the stats out the window. Just if we have to run the ball 55 times to get the win against Iowa State, I will take that every day of the week. If that means we're going to win the game, you get through this game and you continue to build.
Yep, exactly.
I like you. I hate this game just in terms of it. It doesn't mean anything for the standings in the respective conferences, but it is a rivalry game, and it's just you hear about it 365 days a year, right? So I guess it's what makes it fun, but it also can make it not so fun when you don't get the win. So
well, especially after you lose after last year, so you just want that back, right? Like you want that win back. You don't want to go 2 years in a row losing to them. So as it stands right now, like what's your prediction for that game?
Oh, I swear I haven't even thought of this, and I didn't even know you would bring this up. So it's a really good question. Kind of put me on the spot, but I mean, I can't sit here and say. So I see going into the Albany game and in our season predictions with Colby, I had it as a win, just because I feel like we do play better on the road. It's going to be close no matter what. As it sits here right now, knowing what I know right now, it's hard for me to say that we go in there and win. I think it'll be close, and I think Mark will play better. How much better, I don't know, but I'd say it's a 3 to 4 point loss right now. I don't have a specific score, but that's where I would go as of right now on Sunday leading into the game.
So I'm with you. I fully expect Mark will look better. I fully expect the passing game will look better. I fully expect we will have some wrinkles, some new things that we didn't see in the Albany game. We're not going to be as vanilla, but I just think Rocco is that he's good. Like he's good. He's a good quarterback.
And he's in a zone right now.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like anyone can stop him.
I thought Iowa was at an advantage with them playing in Dublin, but I think after seeing like they beat Kansas State.
Yep.
They didn't look very good. It looked sloppy, but hey, they beat Kansas State in Dublin, and to be able to come home and let's face it, South Dakota is better, way better than Albany.
Yeah.
And to be able to just put up that, 55-7, but they always say from week 1 to week 2. And so for them, week 0 to week 1, that's when you improve the most. And did they improve after 1 week. And so I just feel like they're just feeling really good. Rocco his confidence is probably at a 10, and he's just a damn good quarterback. And so unfortunately, I just feel like he's going to win them that game. Now, I have been seeing like, Iowa State's going to blow out Iowa. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game regardless. But if I had a pick, I would say Iowa State wins. Maybe by a touchdown, maybe by 3, maybe by 4, maybe by 10. But as of right now, I think Iowa State will win. But I do think Iowa will look better offensively. But I just think defensively, we're going to give up some plays. Mm-hmm. Rocco is going to connect on a few
for sure
balls. Like we get man to man. He's just so good at just accurately placing the ball, and you just know where we're going to be on like an island, and it's just gonna be a perfectly thrown ball, and they're going to connect, and it's going to happen maybe a few times. Get the stadium going nuts. It's just going to be very tough. Go back 2 years ago, just real quick. 2 years ago, we played Utah State. We didn't look very good. And it turns out we just weren't. Cade obviously wasn't very good. We weren't that good of a team. We came in to that game and we dominated. But the problem, though, or the thing about that year, though, was that was like Rocco's first year. And so they just weren't like that. Iowa State team is not this Iowa State team because of Rocco. Rocco is just one of the best quarterbacks in the country, no doubt.
Yep. Yeah. Listen, best case scenario, Iowa State is really feeling themselves. Everyone's counting Iowa out.
Yep.
And It's not a bad position if you're if you're Kirk and trying to
I
motivate
love
this
it.
team, right? Like
I love it. Go back to last year. Everybody counted Iowa State out because their linebackers all got hurt week 1. They can't stop the run. Caleb Johnson's going to run all over them. We were feeling good after seeing what we did against Illinois State, putting up, the yardage that we put up in the second half and the first game under Tim Lester. And we're like, oh my gosh. And look at what happened. They came into Kinnick and beat us. And nobody thought they were going to come into Kinnick and beat us.
Nope. And that's why, as much as I sit here right now and say that I think Iowa State will win, it obviously, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an Iowa fan, it obviously wouldn't shock me to see us pull off the win in Ames.
Yep.
So not feeling the best right now going into it. Hopefully, as the week goes on, we hear that we're improving and we feel like Mark is going to calm down early and establish some sort of rhythm. Because I think, or like you said, if we can get into a little bit of a rhythm early,
it's going to help.
Then I feel like everything else will go better than it did before.
Mark cannot play what like Rocco did that first half. Remember Rocco, how shaky he was?
Yeah.
How rattled he was last year first half in Kinnick? I mean, yeah, you just can't let that happen because naturally it can work against Iowa when the other team has a rattled quarterback in the first half, because for Iowa, we're just going to start playing vanilla as the game goes on. Well, like Iowa State, I mean, I just feel like they're way more aggressive than us. If Mark plays like what Rocco did in that first half, the game's over. Like if Iowa State gets up by, if they got up 13-0 like we did last year, like the game's over. Like we're not coming back from that. I don't feel like anyway, because they're not going to take the foot off the pedal like we do.
Exactly.
So,
and I don't feel like we have the type of wide receivers that they did last year to get back into the game. Right?
Exactly. So it has to start from the very beginning.
Yep.
And yeah, I hope we're both wrong. I hope we are dead wrong, and that we, by 3:30 next Saturday, we are celebrating a win. It'd be a massive win. It'd be a huge win. It'd probably be probably bigger, maybe even bigger than the 2021 game, just because of how Iowa State's looking right now. How after yesterday for us, it would be a massive win. I mean, it really would. So
now you lump that game into all the other big games that we have on this schedule, right? And how daunting of a schedule it really is. So that's one thing I thought about as we're getting into this week as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not going to win a lot of those games coming up on the schedule if your passing looks like it did against Albany. That's for sure. But all right, well, that will do it for this episode. Once again, we are down to just once a week episode, so we will not be doing a preview to Iowa State. That's kind of why we spent the last 10, 15 minutes talking about that game. So we will be back. Man, I'm going to be in Nashville, so I don't know how we're going to do this, but we'll figure something out to do a reaction podcast following that Cy-Hawk game. Maybe next Sunday or Monday, but be on the lookout for that. But until then, have a good rest of your week. Let's get the dub in Ames.
Yes,
let's win that game, advance to 2-0, beat the Clones. Be nothing better than that, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right, well, that will do it. Thank you guys all for listening, and go Hawks.